Welcome to the TOA CX-1000 online training. In this webinar, we will focus on the rack equipment launched in the first batch of products for the series. Let's start with the CX-1000 System Manager. The System Manager is basically the central intelligence of the system. In every CX setup, this product is required. Its main task is, of course, to make it possible for the system to work, but it even has some features on its own. For example, it provides system fault indication via LED and via buzzer. So if there is a fault in any of the components of the system, it can be displayed at this central point. Additionally, there is an SD card slot, and this can be used to back up log files and setting data. If you insert an SD card into this slot, you can save, for example, the setting data. And if the system manager has a hardware malfunction, you can simply remove the SD card from the defective one and insert it into the new one and upload the setting data, without the need to open the configuration software. And furthermore, the device provides a web interface. So if you enter the IP address of this device, you can do system monitoring. You can see the status of all the system components. But it's not only for maintenance purposes. You can even do a selection of DSP settings. You can adjust the timer settings. If you have pre-scheduled playback of audio files, you can, for example, change the date of time of the playback. And also the audio files can be managed. You can rename them, can change the volume, or just replace the audio files. This interface is not meant for complex pattern changes, but if you simply have an outdated audio file and want to replace it, then you have an easy solution. Let's have a closer look at the front panel of the device. On the left, we have the mentioned SD card slot, which is protected by a rubber plug. Then, also protected by a rubber plug, we have some dip switches. Those are used for saving or uploading the configuration file and turning the buzzer permanently off. In case that the manager detects a fault, there is a fault acknowledge key to make the buzzer stop, and also the status LED will stop flashing. If you want to reset the fault manually, you can do this with the fault reset key. This is hidden behind a small hole. On the right, we have some status LEDs, and finally, again behind a small hole, we have the device reset key. This key will restart the system manager. Now we want to have a look at the back of the device to talk about local integration possibilities via analog connections. We have two control outputs. One is a relay output and the other one is an open collector. Both are connected via a removable terminal block. Talking about the installation requirements and possibilities, first of all, we have two RJ45 connections. It is possible to do a redundant network connection. Of course, the device also needs power, and for this we need 24 volts DC power supply. This can be done via an AC adapter like our AD246, or you can connect another power source via the removable terminal block. And it's important to remember to ground the device to avoid unintended system behavior. Finally, we have a cord clamp that makes it easy to bundle and fixate the cables that are connected to the device to ensure a clean and tidy installation. If you want to mount this one unit size device in a rack, then you have two options. Using the optional bracket MB15B-BK. This will add a blank panel next to the system manager. Or you choose to mount two devices next to each other. You don't have to use two system managers for this. You could also use another device from the series or another TOA product, like receivers for wireless microphones. In this case, you need the MB15BJ. Furthermore, it's possible to mount the device at the wall. In this case, you need the bracket YC850. And of course, you can simply put it on the desk. Then you only need the rubber feet that are supplied with the product. Now we are going to have a look at the CX-PA1120 and 1240, two power amplifiers, one with 120 watts and the other one with 240 watts. The CX-PA amplifiers are basically compact PA systems. The only other requirement regarding the setup is of course the system manager. But apart from that, you have an entire PA system, including an amplifier, available in 2 different power variants. It's possible to select between 2 different high impedance power outputs, 100 volts and 70 volts. Also included is a power supply. It's possible to connect the amplifier directly to AC mains. And the products provide a speaker selector for up to 10 speaker zones connected to the amplifier. Furthermore, there is a variety of operation possibilities at the front panel. And finally, of course, it's possible to connect local analog equipment like microphones or music sources. Let's have a look at the front panel of the amplifiers. First of all, we have 10 direct keys with an LED indicator for each of them. The function of these direct keys can be set at the settings software. For example, you could trigger a pre-recorded audio file. Then we have volume control, again with their own LED indicators, for the local audio inputs, the speaker output, and the separate recording output. Furthermore, the products provide the CPU off function. If you flip this switch, then all local audio inputs will simply be distributed to all outputs. Again, we have our status LEDs and the reset key to restart the device. In case you have set the inputs and output knobs to specific values and do not want the user to change them, you can attach a plastic cover that is supplied with the product. Let's turn the device around to have a look at the possibilities for local integration. First of all, we have our 2 audio inputs. Both have a selection between line and mic level. The selection can be done via dip switches. For the first one, you have even more options. You can select between 0, -20, -40 and -60 dBV. Also exclusive for input 1 is the possibility to turn on 24 volt phantom power. But it's important to know that input 1 can only be used for broadcasts into the local zones of the amplifier and not for streaming to other network devices. Both inputs are electronically balanced and can be connected via removable terminal block. Then we have our recording audio output. This basically puts out the same audio as the amplifier, but as a balanced line output. And again, this can be connected via terminal block. Of course, here we have our 10 speaker outputs. For the speaker outputs, we have a selector between 100 volt and 70 volt. Because this switch affects the amplifier, this will affect all speaker zones at the same time. And again, the speakers can be connected via terminal block. Now we want to have a closer look at the control connections. On the input side, we have 10 no voltage control inputs, connectable via removable terminal blocks. And we have a 24 volt DC cutoff control input. What is this supposed to do? This input, when activated via the settings software, expects a 24 volt input. If this voltage drops, then the speaker output and the recording output are muted. This is basically an emergency turn-off function triggered by an external system. Again, this input is connected via terminal block. If we're looking at the output section, we have 10 control outputs, and all of them are relay outputs. Those control outputs can be used for attenuator control, meaning if I have a high priority announcement in, for example, speaker line 3, then control output 3 will also be triggered to bypass local attenuators. But of course, the function of these outputs can be assigned individually by the settings software. And again, connection via terminal blocks. Now coming to the installation of the product. Just like the system manager, we have 2 RJ45 connections to realize a redundant network connection. Of course, we have a connector for AC power supply. A fitting power cord is supplied with the product. And again, we have our cord clamps for cable fixation. And again, for proper function of the product, grounding is required. And we have a specialty regarding the control inputs. One of them is the power feed jumper called VCC. This is pre-installed at the unit. If this jumper is removed, then the control input is disconnected from the internal power source. This means you have to connect an external power source for the control input. Just below the power feed jumper, there is the isolation jumper, GND, which is also pre-installed. If you remove this jumper, then the control input will be disconnected from the ground of the internal power source. In most cases, both jumpers can be just left where they are. But sometimes it can happen that you get noise on your audio lines if products are connected via these control connections to other systems. This is an issue that can affect PA products in general. In case something like this happens, removing the jumpers can help reducing the noise on the audio lines. And now, coming to the mounting options, of course it's possible to mount the amplifiers in a rack. For this, you need the bracket MB25B. The amplifiers are 2-unit size devices. If you do the rack mounting, it's important to keep in mind that between each amplifier and also between the amplifier and other equipment, you always need a 1-unit size perforated panel. Furthermore, if you want to mount the amplifier at the wall, you need the bracket YC850. And finally, of course, for desktop placement, you can use the supplied plastic feet. The next device is the CX-1062, the audio interface. The main purpose of this device is the analog integration of external equipment. This equipment can be a microphone, a music source, a simple amplifier, or an entire PA system. The audio interface provides audio in and outputs, control in and outputs, and a variation of controls at the front panel. Let's have a look at the back of the device first, because this is where the most interesting features are. In the audio section, we have in total 6 audio inputs. The first 3 can be switched between line and mic level and are transformer balanced. The other 3 are purely line level and are electronically balanced. All of them are again connected via terminal block. We have 2 audio outputs. Both of them are balanced and again connection via terminal block. Now looking at the control section, we have 10 control inputs connected via terminal block and we have 10 control outputs. The first 4 are relay outputs and the other 6 are open collector outputs. And again, all of them connection via terminal block. Now we come to the front of the device. First of all, we have a mono jack input. This audio input can be used for local audio sources. But it is important to know that if this input is used, it will replace the audio input 1 at the back of the device. We have some dip switches covered by a rubber plug. They are used for the selection between mic and line level for the audio inputs. We have volume control for all audio inputs and outputs. Returning are the 10 direct keys that we know from the CXPA amplifiers. Again, we have status LEDs and a reset key for a device restart. And also returning is the possibility to attach a plastic cover to protect the knobs from unintended adjustments. Talking about the installation of the product, we have again 2 RJ45 ports for a redundant network connection. The device requires 24-volt DC power supply via an AC adapter like the 8246 or by another source via terminal block. Also returning are the cord clamps for cable fixation, and again keep in mind to ground the device. Just like the amplifiers, the AF provides the power feed jumper and the isolation jumper that can be removed to reduce noise on the audio lines. This is a 1-unit size device, and for rack mounting you need the bracket MB15B. For wall mounting you need YC850 and for desktop placement just the supplied plastic feet. Now we come to the final product of this webinar, the CX-1016, the control in and out unit. The main purpose of this device is again the analog integration of external equipment, but this device is entirely focused on control inputs and outputs. We do not have operation features at the front, but detailed front panel indication. Since contact connection is the main topic of this product, it provides 16 control inputs. And if you pay attention to the numbers at the control inputs, you can see that not everyone has its own COM port. There are in total 4 COM ports. and each COM port is shared among 4 control inputs at the terminal block. At the output section, we have 16 control outputs. All of them are relay outputs, and again connected via terminal block. And now a look at the front panel. We have 16 LEDs that show the status of each control output. We have again our regular status LEDs and our reset key for device restart. Talking about the installation, this time we only have one RJ45 port for network connection. Also, this device is supplied via 24 volts DC, and this is possible via AC adapter like the 8246 or via terminal block. And we have again a cord clamp for cable fixation. And also applicable for this device, please remember to ground. This is again a 1 unit size device that is half sized. So for rack mounting you have again 2 options. Option 1, using MB15BBK including a blank panel, or using MB15BJ to connect 2 devices together. This could be another control interface, the system manager, or another TOA product. Wall mounting is also possible again using the YC850 and desktop placement using the supplied plastic feet. Now you have an overview of the CX-1000 rack equipment. Thank you for your attention and see you at the next webinar.